Hey y'all, Zach Person, indie rock artist from Atlanta, Georgia, here with Marshall amps. When I was about 10 years old or so, I was really big into skateboarding and that whole culture, and bands used to show up to the skate parks every weekend, and I was immediately drawn to the sound of distorted electric guitars. And so around 11 years old, I started taking my first lessons and went down the whole rabbit hole of blues world and classic rock, and have been addicted to it ever since. My whole life has kind of been centered around music. My favorite guitarists have often taken the old school approach of getting most of their gain from the amp and using the volume control to be very dynamic and expressive, and that's the approach that I've taken with my own music and with my own playing. I like having a fairly high amount of gain in my sound and just using my volume controls to be expressive. Growing up listening to classic rock music, Marshall has just been kind of a staple throughout, all of that sort of heritage of music. And I don't know, Marshalls are just cool. They have a big presence. They're big, loud amps that sound awesome. My latest album is called Let's Get Loud, and I think that Marshall goes right along with that mantra of making a lot of noise and being heard and making a big statement, making a big sound. I just started saying let's get loud because there's so much noise to compete with. I don't know, I felt like you kind of have to make a big statement if you want to get heard above everything. And I feel like with my whole thing of let's get loud and Marshall, like I said, I feel like they just go hand in hand. Like if you have a half stack or a full stack behind you, I feel like that gets people's attention. When I see the Marshall logo, I immediately feel connected to all the past legendary rock moments and artists. And to be a part of the Marshall family, it's a huge honor. There's so much history there, and it feels cool to be a part of it.